You know what I just can't get enough of? Gimmicks.
Everyone's got a gimmick now.
And I know I'm not the only one, because Fortnite players love gimmicks like an alcoholic loves whiskey. As cool as the Fortnite storyline is, it doesn't really work without the seasonal effects, or gimmicks as we call them. These are unique in-game mechanics that come in the form of weapons, transformations, and environmental effects. You know what I'm talking about, stuff like mudsliding, grind rails, and the godforsaken nitro boost from last season. These gimmicks are refreshing and a nice change of pace from the generic shooter formula of Fortnite. They also open up new gameplay strats and immerse you in whatever seasonal theme is active at the point in time. I think it's safe to say that without the gimmicks, Fortnite seasons wouldn't be nearly as exciting or memorable. Usually, stuff like this only lasts until season's end, after which they're tossed into the vault and forgotten, much like a Family Guy cutaway gag. I decided to create my very own top 5 list of the best Fortnite season gimmicks ever. Now, as charming and charismatic as I am, I know that my opinions aren't representative of the entire Fortnite player base. By the way, if I forgot one of your favorite gimmicks, I'm sure you'll let me know all about it in the comment section in a nice and civil manner, right?
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
Kicking things off, we've got the alien abductions from Chapter 2, Season 7, which was given the title Invasion as a reference to the alien invasion from the last reality. After the Foundation, sealed himself up in a giant chromium tower to protect the 0 Point, a bunch of baddies from the last reality decided to get their hands on the shiny blue orb known as the 0 Point. You know, standard intergalactic villain stuff, trying to destroy all of reality, like Thanos, but instead of snapping away just half the population, these guys are going for 100%. Soon, players began to notice these weird-looking UFOs zooming around the island. They were called abductors, and guess what? They abducted people by sucking them up into the alien mothership with tractor beams. Inside, you were introduced to this weird experiment room with all kinds of messed up stuff. They did not have anal probes. I did check.
Of course you did.
But here's the fun part of getting kidnapped by aliens. You could play a cool new minigame that brought back old POIs, but presented them in a very different way. Instead of your regular movement and weapons, you now had a jetpack and an alien gun launcher. The whole thing was a time trial, and your goal was to collect as many orbs as possible. Gold orbs would give you better loot, and blue orbs would extend the amount of time you could spend inside the minigame. While you couldn't kill anyone with your gun launcher, you could cause immense frustration by knocking them away from an orb right as they're about to collect it. I know for a fact there were entire groups of assholes who didn't even care about the loot. They just played this minigame to troll others by preventing them from collecting any orbs. Once your time was up, you would be taken to the loot room where you had 20 seconds to open chests of different rarities. The more orbs you collected, the higher your loot rarity, and then the mothership would spit you back onto the island where you were free to murder your fellow players with your freshly collected loot. This gimmick only lasted till the end of Chapter 2 Season 7 and went away as soon as the alien theme left. Next up is the heat level gimmick from Chapter 4 Season 1, which only lasted 2 weeks, or as our cousins from across the pond say, 1 Fortnite. I did the meme, never mind.
Shut your lame ass up.
So this whole gimmick was part of the Most Wanted event. No, not that Most Wanted event. I'm talking about the faction of criminals in Fortnite. When these guys were introduced, you could find their posters scattered all across the island. To go along with the whole criminal theme, we got heat levels. There were 4 in total, and you gained heat by eliminating opponents, doing bounties, opening vaults, or using telephone booths. Think of heat like the Wanted system in GTA, except it has actual benefits rather than just downsides.
What is it me for?
Let's start with the good stuff. As you gain heat, you also gain movement speed and regenerate more health outside of combat. Sounds awesome, right? However, having any heat at all means you're always visible on the minimap to literally everybody else, and they're probably making a beeline straight to your location as you're busy daydreaming about all the cool bonuses you're getting. This is one of the reasons why players who didn't understand the heat mechanic would often receive a 45 caliber lobotomy.
You hate to see it.
The heat gimmick was a nice way to encourage fast-paced gameplay and prioritized movement over everything else. It added a nice risk to reward balance that turned the hunter into the hunted. Do you think heat levels should return? Number 3 on my list is the infamous Chrome gimmick from Chapter 3, Season 4. So one day, the islanders are celebrating, all chilling around a bonfire, singing Kumbaya, and all of a sudden a weird tree appears on the southwestern part of the map and starts to change the surrounding biome. When the 7 try to investigate said tree, they get gobbled up by some weird chrome-colored goop, leaving only one survivor, Paradigm. She later causes the fracture event, which brings us into Chapter 4. Chrome is a top-tier gimmick because of how seamlessly it combines with other systems in Fortnite, like building. You could drop a jar of Chrome Splash on yourself, turning into this slimy glob that crawls on the ground, and it also gave you increased movement speed in addition to passive health regen. But here's the best part. Chrome would also let you phase through walls like a ghost if you did a mid-air dash into a building. Just imagine little Timmy building himself a nice fortress in the middle of a beautiful field, feeling all safe and secure until you materialize out of thin air behind him, looking like the T-1000 from Terminator 2, wagging your finger in disapproval before shotgunning him into little fleshy bits.
Okay.
Another huge benefit of Chrome was its reinforcement ability. Throwing Chrome Splash on any structure immediately made it stronger. Wood could gain a 2x strength boost from Chrome, while brick structures would become 45% stronger. This meant that trying to destroy Chrome fortified structures was a bigger waste of time than watching a single episode of Skibbity Toilet. Plus, you could generate more Chrome on the fly if you wanted. Epic said, "Yo dog, I heard you like Chrome, so we put Chrome in your Chrome so you can make Chrome while using Chrome." Now that's what I call Chromeception. Introduced in Chapter 1, Season 9, Fort Bites were another nifty little gimmick, except this time they weren't directly tied into the gameplay loop. Instead, these were little tokens that you could collect by visiting certain locations and doing specific tasks. There were a total of 100 Fort Bites, and they were gradually added into the game from May through June 2019. The 100th and final Fort Bite would complete the vision loading screen, in which we can see Bunker Jonesy with a caveman-style drawing that predicts the upcoming battle between the Mecha Team Leader and the Devourer. And now, for the final item on my list, I'm just gonna come out and say it, the Shockwave Hammer. Bet none of you saw this one coming, or maybe you did, because to many it is the single most OP item ever introduced. I guess those guys forgot about the Infinity Blade and the Brute, but hey, opinions are free and yours is wrong. What is Fortnite all about if not for wacky cartoonish stuff that you won't find in any other battle royale? It's always been about fun over everything else, and while being on the receiving end of a Shockwave Hammer might suck in the moment, you'd eventually get your hands on one and immediately fall in love with it. It's all a matter of perspective. Slamming the ground to blow away structures and ragdolling your opponents like empty shampoo bottles will never cease to be satisfying. It was the perfect combination of mobility and damage, but you couldn't spam it like a moron and hope to wreck everyone. If you misjudged the distance, your ass would get shot instead of knocking the other guy away, and you'd end up looking like an idiot. Plus, the hammer could only store a maximum of 3 charges, but when you did know how to use the Shockwave properly, it completely transformed your gameplay. It gives you an insta-kill on an opponent if you hit them from a close enough distance, and was also an effective repositioning tool. You could use it to flank, push, gain high ground, or prevent fall damage. If you ask me, the Shockwave Hammer represents the perfect kind of wacky chaos that Fortnite should lean into to recover its former glory. I even remember hosting a hammer-only custom with my audience for a gift a year or so ago. Those were the days. Comment the word Gouda if you made it to the end of the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.